Hello, welcome back to Master of Orion 2. In this game I'm doing a huge galaxy where I'm doing maximum commentary. So trying to basically explain as many different mechanics as possible, various options available, and there are a great many in this game. And kind of talking through what I'm doing in even greater detail. So all that's happened so far, I think part 1 was about an hour long, but because of all the additional commentary and exploring the options, we're only 43 turns in. I think turn 1 didn't start until about maybe half an hour into the video, so that's the style of this particular video. So all I've done is taken another star and counted one race, being the Nolams, and set up some treaties with them, because we do have these diplomatic attributes. So charismatic and expert traders or fantastic traders, and then various other stuff here which essentially boosts development, let's call it, subterranean, larger populations, for example. But we do have low G penalty, so the homeworld is low G, even though it's large, which means pretty much all these planets, even though they're pretty good, there's going to be a gravity penalty, so pretty annoying. But there is a technology which counters that, which is planetary gravity generator. So regardless of what the way this works is that whenever there's some kind of penalty, you build this and then the penalty goes away. So it could be high G, could be low G, doesn't matter what it is. You could have a mix of population, which is some are low G, some are high G, but this just makes everything, just normalizes everything. That's how I understand it. So I'll continue colonizing these planets. It's pretty much the play here, because these, as you can see, pretty large population caps. That's thanks to, well, they are, a lot of them are actually pretty big planets, but it's mainly thanks to subterranean, that the population, the maximum population is so high. Right now I'm just building some hydroponic farms. So you can see there are 3 colonies, automated factory on the way for the new colony, and then just building some automated, hydroponic farms, which are automated, by the way, just to generate some additional food, and I can take some of these guys off farming. This button here, planets, you can actually use as a bit of a way to sort through all the different planets, because if there's a lot, it can be a bit overwhelming. So you can sort by priority, climate, minerals, and size. You can also filter things out, so all the planets I've scouted are also in range, so that filter doesn't do anything. Enemy present, same thing. If I put on normal gravity, you'll see they all disappear, because this is essentially saying, well, you can see there, gravity, normal G, minus 25% production. And that's for food, industry, and science, so it affects everything. The only thing that isn't affected is taxes. So fortunately, people can still pay their full tax even when there's a gravity penalty, so you don't lose any money. So that's kind of nice. But we can see here, if I sort by minerals, non-hostile environment basically just means you can grow food. So the desert and arid can grow food, whereas the other one's 0 food. And then mineral abundance just means abundant or better. So it filters out poor and ultra poor planets. So we can see here, they're all pretty good. This one at the top, Sadir 1, probably go for that. It is rich after all. Then I could go to this star as well. So I'm going to see how much it is to build a colony ship, probably quite a while, 23 turns. But once I get more guys off farming, I'll have more workers. Other than that, yeah, going to get the cloning center. So this, I didn't actually right click on it to show you what it does, but it increases the population by 100 each turn, 100k. So 100,000 people. The way this game works, or at least the aesthetic of it, let's call it, is that each of these represents 1 million people. So that's why we've got up here 10,000k. So 10,000,000, which is 10 million. So we've got, here we've got 243,000 people. But anyway, this plus 54 would jump up to 154. So the main reason I'm getting that is large populations on these planets. And you can see here, I've got population growth minus 50%. So the cloning center will essentially just counter this. Anyway, I'll end turn there. Nothing happened, which you'll see a lot in this game. Okay, that's great. Already had a technology stolen. Obviously it's the norms. So I'm going to actually talk to them about that. Let's have a little chat here. I'm going to demand that they stop spying. Okay, so he says I'm not going to yield to that demand. So I'm going to have to build some spies now. It was worth a try. I can't actually do anything besides yell at them for that, because as you can see here, I can't even attack. Not that I really want to attack, like I am getting some pretty good yield from the treaties we have. So my next move is just to build some spies, which will be used defensively. Okay, we've got a mega wealth leader, so I'm going to hire her right off the bat. Build housing to keep boosting the population. Now, because this leader is, so I've got diplomat. That's kind of nice. Famous. Decreases the cost of hiring other officers by whatever the number is. Mega wealth. This is you'll love to see it. Independently wealthy, does not require any upkeep cost and contributes 10 BC to the empire each turn. So early game, that's extremely good. Later on in the game, it's not that big a deal, but yeah, mega wealthy, so that's really nice. This guy now, still I can't afford him. I think I'm going to let him go. Actually, what is, can't see his maintenance cost. I think it's 2 BC. Now, what this famous thing doesn't tell you is that it actually decreases the cost of decreases the maintenance cost of leaders as well. I'm not sure what the formula is. I'm guessing it's something like for every 100 in famous, like minus 100 or greater. Maybe it decreases the maintenance cost by 1 to a minimum of 1, something like that. So it's quite good. Take another farmer off there. I think this place finished the hydroponic farm. So as you can see, switching around these things. Now I'm at -1 food. I'm actually going to put that farmer back. Maybe I can get this guy. 2 BCs per turn. Then I get 20% on trade. So if I look at this, 9 BC. Yeah, so it only needs to go up by 1, and then I'll be breaking even with that. So I'm going to go ahead and get him then. He also does this other stuff. Looks like it hasn't kicked in yet, so I'll wait a turn. Okay, this is GNN, the Galactic News Network. So this is just your screen explaining random events, essentially, or key developments in the galaxy, like a race being, if a race gets wiped out, then this will just tell you, by the way, these guys have been wiped out. So in this case, Clacons have gotten, this is one of the random events that can happen, that the mineral classification of that planet just gets boosted. And this one to rich, so good for them. There we go, trade treaty has now increased. So I think that'll take off eventually, but for now. And he'll sit there gaining experience. In this particular version of the game, you've got this little indicator here which tells you their experience, which is quite nice. And when it reaches the maximum, they level up. So he'll be leveling up in 90 turns, essentially. So it'll be a while, but nice to see him gaining that experience. Okay, here we go. Nolem's again. No. Sorry, I just kind of closed that. They were just saying thanks for the trade treaty. So it's nice that they show some gratitude for that. I guess when you're just earning turns like that, I think there's a setting in here which I recommend turning on. GNN report. That's an option you can play around with. Show only serious turn summary reports. I don't have that turned on. I don't know what auto delete housing and trade goods. I don't think I've ever used that. I'll go back to that in a second. Yeah, here we go. End of turn wait. So I think by default this is turned off, which means you press turn and then it will just run through a whole bunch of turns until something interesting happens, as you can see there. I actually really don't like that because the game starts to play itself a little bit, and maybe you want to check on stuff as you're going. So I recommend turning this on, which I have it on right now. Now, if you put trade goods or housing, because these aren't actually buildings as such, it's just conversions of leftover production into either money or population growth. If you actually put them above a building, it'll give you this warning. Ah, never mind. It's supposed to give you a warning. Maybe in this mod it doesn't do that. Okay, that's a little bit surprising. Maybe if I do trade goods, it will. Okay, maybe that's something they changed in the mod. Normally if you put one of these before a structure or something, it'll actually warn you to say you've got one of these in place before. So if trade goods, it will take forever. It'll just go on forever and ever. So whatever you've got queued after trade goods is never going to actually complete. Housing, on the other hand, it will eventually complete when you reach maximum population, which will take a very, very long time. But it just gives you that warning just to say, are you sure you want to do things this way? But anyway, I'm going to buy the automated factory here and then build the hydroponic farm. Meanwhile, we're just going to keep ending turn. Gonna do this one first. By the way, in these turn summaries, you can actually click on the text and it will take you to that planet. I usually just close it right away. But if there's nothing queued up, it'll actually jump to that planet. So that's basically the way I do it. Let's put a farmer there. Gonna have another hydroponic farm soon. One more colony base. Defending spy, mysteriously assassinated. Very mysterious indeed. So what that is here are my spies. You gotta click on races to get to your spies. Yeah, quite a lot of text there. So just pause the video if you want to read that. But the mysterious assassination is there's a leader which has an ability called Assassin. And it's like a 3% or so, usually. That leader has a 3% chance each turn to assassinate a spy which is spying on you. Or if you're spying on someone else, it'll it'll have a chance to assassinate their defending spies. So this guy has a leader and he's spying on me, and that's why he picked off one of my spies there. Okay, Norlam, that just said Norlam, and by the way, he can go into this turn summary if you want to come back to this. Norlam and Clacon are now at war, so that means the Clacon are nearby the Norlams. Alright, here goes our final colony base. Yeah, that gravity penalty is pretty bad. Now it's time to build a colony ship to go colonize some of these other planets. Trade treaty is pretty good now. Can't exchange tech. I can offer tech, and I can demand tech, so I can see the stuff he has. The other way to see the stuff they have is to use this function here, report. Feels like a bit of a map hack, and one of the options in this mod is you can actually turn this off, because you can see how it's almost feels like cheating. You can just see everything they have, and the technologies that they're highlighted like that, those are the technologies which they have that you don't have. So electronic computer, we both have that, so it's not highlighted, whereas deuterium fuel cells, he has that, but I don't. So pretty standard stuff. Okay, here we go. Another hydroponic farm. And I'm going to build research labs across the board. I think this one can now build colony bases. 13 turns. Colonize these other planets. Now we have cloning center. I could get microbiotics to further boost population growth, but that's 900 research points. What I'm going to get now is, I'd like to go up to this robo miners, or deuterium, maybe deuterium fuel cells followed by pollution processor, because I want to reduce the pollution a bit. Quite a few options here, and even though I've been playing this game a long time, sometimes I get a little bit stumped as to what I should get. I think I'll go up to robo miners, because I'll get fighter garrison along the way, so that'll give me some kind of defense. But I'll get neural scanner first. So neural scanner is one of the spying technologies. It just increases your spying rolls. I think there's about 5. This one is plus 10. Most of them are plus 10. I think telepathic training might be the only one which is plus 5. So you got neural scanner. Cyber security link, also plus 10. Ooh, don't know what happened there. In force fields we've got stealth suit, it's plus 10. There's telepathic training, which is plus 5, and then we've got psionics, also plus 10. Also increases morale, which is kind of nice. I think that's all of them. I'm going to get neural scanner, and then continue researching. I'm going to get a few more spies as well, but I don't want my technology to be stolen, so hence the neural scanner research. Now I've got to build cloning centers everywhere. Firstly, I'll build the automated factory, then build the cloning center. So right now I'm just spending my surplus money to boost the production on all these planets. Just gives it a bit of a kick along, you know. There we go, automated factories and cloning centers across the board. If we look at my home world now, 154 population per turn, so this one technology mitigates the population growth penalty quite significantly. That got pretty much entirely. So that'll just go ahead and yeah, essentially want to get my population really big. Now one of the functions in here is history graph. You can use these buttons here to toggle between things. So Nolan's ahead of me in technology, of course. Fleet also pretty, yeah, I'm doing pretty abysmally when it comes to fleet. Buildings are about the same, but population I'm actually ahead. And this is going to take off as well once all these cloning centers are online. Okay, got another spire, and now we can get back into the colony ship. Alright, here comes GNN again. Nolan scientists stumbled upon the secrets of advanced magnetism. So it's not very... doesn't really explain what that actually means. But what it does mean is the field in which they're researching, which is right here, advanced magnetism. They're researching something, and when that event happens, they instantly gain all the technologies in that field. So if I look at Nolan's now, he has Mass Driver, Class 1 Shield, and ECM Jammer. Now Nolan's are lucky. Like they've got a racial ability called Lucky. So occasionally, yeah, they do get little boosts like that, but as you saw earlier, the Klakon's got a boost as well, so yeah, I don't really know why it costs 3 points. It seems kind of like a waste, but that's my opinion. Maybe if it cost 2 points, it wouldn't be so bad, but yeah, 3 points seems a bit excessive. But yeah, as you can see, it paid off at least then. So they've got a couple of extra technologies now. Now this food situation is getting a little bit difficult. Once the cloning centers are done, I'm going to make those other buildings. Okay, there you go. So she's gained a level, reached 60 experience. So that's going to help reduce the pollution even further. It's hard to really see what the benefit is, but I guess this number would be larger, so I'd have less industry. Hydroponic farm, of course. There we go, that one's finished its colony base. Gonna buy that right off the bat. So here you can see it's 4 BC per 1 production. I don't think it's always that ratio. I think there's other factors in the calculation. I don't actually understand it, but for buying a building right off the bat, as you can see there, was 4 BC per production. Problem with this planet is that it's arid, so it's only 1 food per farmer. Ooh, okay. That's interesting to get this guy so early. He has an interesting ability called Galactic Law, which I'll go to in 1 second. This here. Relays instant knowledge of planet and star information. That means the entire galaxy. Because he's just... he's traveled the galaxy so much that he knows the characteristics of every single planet and star, which is pretty crazy, but he's a really smart guy, really wise man. So, like, he is an ancient spacefarer after all. And he also, you get a bonus when fighting space monsters and the Guardian. So, and then he also does, what is that? Attack bonus, okay. And then he's got Helmsman as well, which increases defense. And Navigator. Navigator's always good. Similar stuff to this guy. The main difference is the Galactic Law. He also gives you, as you don't know if you saw it earlier, but he will give me Dimensional Portal, which is not a useful technology in the slightest right now. I'll show you what it does. It's way down here. Basically, it just lets you attack Antares. And in order to defeat Antares, you need a very powerful fleet with very good technology, so that won't be happening anytime soon. So he's going to give me a useless technology, but don't want to sound too ungrateful. But the other stuff that he does will be certainly worth the cost. So I'm going to build these farms just to... No, I'm out of money now. Because the food situation is getting a bit dire. Basically, my population is growing. Growing pretty fast. Let's go back to the history graph. Now we're up here. I don't know what number that is. Maybe 30 or something. Roughly 30 by the looks of things. If this is 25 and this is 50. Not sure if that's accurate, but I guess I could have added up manually. Yeah, maybe mid-20s or so. But my population keeps increasing, but there's not enough food. There's a technology called soil enrichment, but I gave that up in order to get cloning center. So maybe getting some of this stuff, terraforming weather control system. But I'm gonna get better production first. Maybe I can get planetary supercomputer. So many different options, it can get a little bit overwhelming. Let's talk to the Nollums. Okay, I've proposed a non-aggression pact, and they've agreed. Now, a non-aggression pact is just like in real life. It's doesn't really mean anything. It just just makes you feel good, basically, because you can always just go and attack if you really want, and vice versa. So having all this stuff doesn't actually prevent them from trying to kill you. In the case of Nollums, they'll probably be okay with me for a long time, especially because they're benefiting from these treaties as well. But sometimes the computer just decide that you've got to die, and then they come and attack you. This game's pretty weird like that. Go. So I've colonized that planet. So we've got a third star now. Now I should be able to go to this star. See what's there. Just build housing at this planet now. This one's swamp, so the food production's pretty good. And there's a colony ship there. Interesting. Wow, okay. I think I'm guessing this was there was a space monster here, and they just killed the space monster, and that's why it's so, like, that's very good. But they didn't colonize it. I don't really know why. Maybe they saw me coming. So I want to get my swamp planet up to high population as well to help out with the food, because right now my homeworld is trying to sustain a lot of the other planets, and then I'm using freighters to transport the food around. These arid planets, high population, but as you can see, not a lot of food production. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to get fighter garrison, so I'm not completely defenseless. I'm actually not gonna get this guy, and that might be a, well, I'll save money, but might not be a smart move. But I'm deliberately gonna, I don't actually want to reveal all the stars and planets. because right now I'm actually kind of enjoying the mystery of what's out there in the galaxy, and I hope you are as well if you're watching this. So I'm gonna deliberately not get that because, yeah, just kind of might ruin the fun a little bit. So I'm just gonna keep going like this. Plus, I'll save money. It's not entirely about the money, but the money is a nice little side benefit there. So I'm pretty much just building all the, like, systematically building all the buildings. Automate a factory first, that's to get the higher production. And then I'm going for the food, because as I've been explaining, the food situation is, it's not terrible, but it's, yeah, there's a lot of people to feed. Then I get the research lab, or the cloning center to get the population growth going. And then, not really sure which is best to build out of these two, but the marine barracks, that's just to help out with the morale, because dictatorship has -20 until you build the barracks. And then of course the research lab. So I'm going to build housing. Colony base, okay. Got a gas giant, can't build there. There we go. Gonna go up to maximum population for this planet. Oh, maybe I'll just let the cloning center do it. It's yeah, these guys aren't adding too much growth, so I'm gonna put them on science instead. But that planet pretty much it's pretty close to reaching its full potential, at least with the level of technology that I currently have. Buy another farm. And then the only other thing to build is the star base, but that's 400 production, as you can see, and a lot of the time it's going to take many, dozens of turns, like as you can see there, 34 turns. So I'm not going to build star bases just yet. Instead I'm going to build housing. So this 5 production here from the automated factory is just going to go into the boosting the production, the population growth there. So it's actually, yeah, it's adding a surprising amount. If we put these guys there as well, yeah, we go up to 244. I don't want the population to grow too much though, because, well, it won't be sustainable because the food production. I know I said earlier I want to grow my population, but I've basically just changed my mind. I do want it to grow on this planet because it's swamp, so the food production is pretty good. Get this colony ship. We'll kind of go from there. If you build housing here, 244. Take that planet. That one I also like. But I'll get this stuff and then I'll kind of go from there. It's quite a nice planet, this one. Okay, she's gained a level now. So these, yeah, as you can see here, this guy, Captain Kerr, now he's down to 1 BC maintenance cost. So this guy, from leveling up, the famous increased, and now it's crossed that threshold. I'm guessing it's 100 BC. That reduces the maintenance cost of other leaders. It's also going to reduce the higher cost. Okay, we've encountered the humans now. Pretty funky music. Do not provoke the human empire. We will attack you. Or we will attack if you remain too close to territory that is rightfully ours. Okay, sounds reasonable. And yeah, there's all their stars there. Now, when I first played this, I thought it was a bit bizarre how when you encounter someone, it suddenly reveals all their stars. Because you know, if you're used to playing games like StarCraft, you're like the fog of war mechanic is very significant. But I'm guessing in this context, because this is kind of like geopolitics, right? So there's no way to hide where your bases are. So it just tells you where their colonies are, or their bases, but it doesn't tell you anything else. Like I can't click on them. So let's go ahead and take a look at his technology. Now, humans are democracy, so they've got extra science. So I'm expecting him to have pretty good technology. So he doesn't really, but anyway, we can exchange tech. He's going to offer biospheres. This is what biospheres does. This was the other technology that was available when I got hydroponic farm. So by getting hydroponic farm, I gave this up. Increases population by 2. Maximum population, that is. Which, in normal circumstances, that's pretty good, but my population maximum is actually pretty good. But let's go ahead and see what he wants for that. Okay, he wants battle pods. So that's not a... It's actually a really terrible trade, so I'm not going to do that. But let's see if we can get a trade treaty. Okay, good. We'll try a research treaty as well. Awesome. And sometimes when you do that, their standing with you or their opinion of you increases. So if you go back into the exchange check, you can see if there's other technologies that pop up. Okay, good. So we've got trade treaties with, we've encountered 2 for 2, encountered 2 races, and have established treaties with both of them. So far so good. Gonna build one more colony ship now, because I want to get this planet before they do. There we go, there's fighter garrison. Then we'll get robo miners. Robo miners is basically a double automated factory, and it doesn't replace the automated factory. It's important to point out. You can have this and the automated factory, so it's like having 3 automated factories. It's very good. That'll really boost my production. And I build fighter garrisons everywhere. As you can see, starting to starve a little bit. Gonna get another freighter fleet. Fighter garrison is just like one of the basic defensive structures. Pretty cheap to build, only 150. So I'm not completely safe once I have it, but it's something. I can build those on every planet pretty easily. So that'll just act as a bit of a deterrent. Because in this game, the computer, especially on impossible difficulty, the computer know exactly what you have at all times. Yeah, they're like sharks. Like once there's blood in the water, once they sense that blood in the water, they will try to kill you. I do have these treaties there, so this will act as a bit of a deterrent. Okay, that planet has reached its maximum population. Now I might as well build fighter garrison. Colony ship almost done. Okay, now we have robo miners. Now I'm tossing up whether I want to try and reduce the pollution. Might not be necessary now that I have robo miners. I can also go for more research. Holo simulator is quite good, 20% boost across the board, so food, industry, and science, but also taxes, because a happy citizen is a citizen who pays more taxes, apparently, according to this game. So I can also go in this direction and go towards terraforming. So what I'm going to do is just going to grab titanium armor real quick, just for some extra defensive capability. Little robo miner plants everywhere. So I'm just going to use this function to quickly switch up my production. If you click on the name over here, it'll take you to this screen. But if you click on the what's in the queue over here, it'll take you straight to this screen. So I'm just going to quickly switch up the production a bit. Get these robo miner plants everywhere. Except here, because it doesn't even have an automated factory yet. So production is getting pretty good now in my home world. As you can see, all the bonuses are starting to add up. Got some pollution, but thankfully I've got this later who reduces the pollution pretty significantly. But yeah, we've got the base 5 per worker. Robo miner plant increases by 2 per worker. Automated factory increases by 1 per worker. And then you can see automated factory and robo miner plant appear twice. And the reason for that is because this is their base. This is like a fixed addition of production. Whereas this is based on how many workers there are, and then you have pollution at the end. So I didn't explain that earlier, but that's how it works. The exact formula for how pollution is calculated is very, I don't actually understand it. It's something to do with the size of the planet and the maximum population versus the production. So this guy's not producing any pollution yet. One of those things, like, you don't have to understand it necessarily, you just need to know, because this will just tell you when it's happening, and if it's really high, that means probably a good idea to reduce it. You don't really need to know anything else besides that. But the information's out there somewhere on the internet. I'm sure there's explanations for how it works, if you're curious. GNN again. Ooh, 8 ships. So they've got a pretty big fleet. This one's a bit of a bizarre one. It just the ships are on their way to a planet, and this happens, and then they're, maybe they were 3 turns out, but now they're instantly there. So pretty inconsequential. Ooh, okay, so it's actually the Bullrathi. So this is like a kind of the status quo sort of update. I'm not sure what triggers these, but here it is. So Bullrathi now has 10 stars, which is pretty good. This guy is quite good, also quite cheap. And I'm not sure what this asterisk means. I still haven't been able to figure that out after all this time. Pretty amazing. Because here we saw it's there. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any explanation in game. But we saw it's there, and we saw that this ability increased, because I thought it had something to do with this is what increases or what doesn't increase. But we saw with this guy, Mega Wealth doesn't have an asterisk, and it didn't increase. So, not sure what it means. Still don't know what it's always puzzled me a bit, that one. Commando just makes the Marine stronger. That's actually going to come in handy if I do any ground combat. Weaponry also good, but the Commando is the main benefit from him. I'm actually going to hire him now. He is only 1 BC, so I do want him to start getting experience. I've got plenty of money, so money is not really a problem. Okay, here we go. Finally got the last colony ship. build a couple more spires, and then I'll switch into research. There's titanium armor. Gonna go into some terraforming now. Macrobiotics is actually very tempting right now. I'm gonna prioritize spying though. As you can see, lots of, I need a lot of farmers who still don't have enough food. Because the clones are just marching out of those cloning centers. And I can't really keep up with the food required to feed them all. Alright, yet another planet. Just going to build fighter garrisons. I'm not going to build a star base just yet. Now I can finally explore another star. Just going to queue that up. I'm not actually going to build towards this, but this production from the two baseline factories will just work towards. I want them working towards something, so I'll put it into a battleship. Meanwhile, the population is still increasing at a nice rate thanks to the cloning center. Finished a hydroponic farm. Let's go cloning center. Fighter garrison. Put another guy on food. This is the swamp planet. I'm just going to use one turn for it. I'm going to build even more freighters. Okay. Clacon and Nolam now at war again. So pretty good production on these planets now. But I'm gonna, thanks to the robo miners, but I'm gonna just channel into. I'm gonna go on research and channel the production into star bases. Once I've got fighter garrisons. All these fighter garrisons are going to cost a lot of money, $2 or 2 BC per turn for each one, but I think it will be worth it. Then I'll just do this, channel the production into that. It'll take a while to build, but if I switch it up, then it won't take quite so long. But I'm just going to focus on research now. I need to get this planet online as well to help out with the food production. There we go, now there's a farmer there. Okay, telepathic training just helps out with the spires. Then I'm going to get terraforming, which will really help out with all this food and whatnot. These arid planets can be terraformed immediately into Terran, which will be very good. So in anticipation of that, I'm going to build housing. Let's go talk to our friends, the humans. See if there's any good technologies they're willing to share. Yeah, so they're only willing to accept something really good for something not that good, which is usually the case on Impossible. So heavy armor for robo miners. Survival pods will be good eventually when I get into combat, which I inevitably will, because someone will try to kill me. But I'm gonna try and kill them right back if they do that, which I think is only fair. But hopefully I'll actually be ready to fight when the time comes. Ironically, I haven't built a fighter garrison in my homeworld. So I'm just going to pick up the pace a little bit here. I don't think there's too much more to be explained. I'll just take a look at this. As you can see now, some other things have well taking up my income. So it's still mostly buildings, but freighters are starting to take up more and more because I do have 19 active freighters now. Got some spies as well, and then of course leaders. These guys are gaining some good XP, which is good. His trader went up, so it's going to be increasing the money I'm getting from these trade treaties. If she levels up again, that'll be great because that'll further reduce the pollution on these planets. I don't have any workers. Everyone's on science and food. But when I go back to work, the pollution will be a lot lower than it otherwise would be. Fighter garrison. Let's get housing. Okay, so right away I can tell the music. It's not their usual music. This is the music is pretty foreboding. Don't know if you can hear it with the audio settings I'm playing with, but the music is saying bad times are ahead. So this is ironic that he's demanding I stop spying. He actually spied on me, and I demanded he stop, and he said to get lost. And now he's accusing me of spying when I'm not actually spying on him, so you were framed, as you can see. I'm not sure how the framing mechanic works. I'm guessing it's just some kind of random number generator, but maybe it's more complex than that. But someone spied on him, and now he's not happy, and he thinks it's me who did it, which is obviously not true, with you, the viewer, as my witness. So these planets are coming along nicely, and then I'm about to have terraforming. Okay, here we go. This is if you're not into the combat side of things in this game, and the conquest and all that, this is probably the ultimate technology, because it will convert the planet's climate, which is going to be very good for me. Probably could have got Holo Simulator first, but anyway. Now I don't know what to get, honestly. I might get into some shields, actually. I'll just put it on Mesh Driver for now. And now I'm going to build terraforming. And hopefully get myself out of this food crisis. So these two planets are arid. They will immediately become Terran once terraforming is complete. That one's still a ways away. This one's already Terran, so it's not going to get any better anytime soon. This one's radiated, so it can't be terraformed. The swamp planet, might as well terraform it. It's not going to get much better. The max population will increase, but that's about it. And then I've got these barren planets. This is where I think I'll receive the most benefit. now, because I had all that production going into the starbase, I can just swap into terraforming, and now it's only going to take 1 turn. So this one will become desert, because it's closer to the star, and this one on the edge is going to become tundra, because it's far from the star. So pretty cool flavor there, I think. Let's take a look. So we've got some food production now on this planet. I can build terraforming again, but as you can see, it's incremented by 250. So going from barren to terran, you've got to build it, I think, 1, 2, 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. So 250 the first time, 500 the second time, and then 750 the third time. So it's a lot of production, but it can be worth it, absolutely. I think that, yeah, that adds up to 1500 production, so it is a lot. So right now this one is desert, and this one is tundra. So let's take a look. There you go. Ice planet on the outside, desert planet on the inside. I'm more interested in terraforming the one on the outside because that's going to have higher food production sooner than the one on the inside. So desert will become arid, which is like these planets here. Only 1 food per farmer. Whereas this one will become swamp, which is 2 food per farmer. So that one is actually going to be better for me in terms of food. As for these guys, thinking of just buying this, just to kick it along a bit. That one's just building housing, okay. Yeah, so I'll get mass driver, anti-gravity harness, and then class 3 shield. That'll give me some good defensive capability. So the interceptors, which are launched from the fighter garrison, doesn't really tell you any of this. Oh, maybe it does. Let's take a look. Fighter garrison. Okay, so yeah, it launches 40 interceptors, and new fighters become available. Well, every 4 turns. Wow, okay. Didn't realize it was that often. It feels like a lot longer than that. But it's 40 interceptors, and each interceptor has your best point defense weapon. So, best weapon, which has one of the modification point defense. So right now, the only beam I have is laser, which has point defense. So this would be, the way this would work is that it'll be 40 interceptors, each for the point defense laser. Even though it's point defense, it doesn't apply the damage penalty, so I think it would still do 4 damage. And they fire at point blank range, so they don't really have a to hit penalty, but they will be, their chance to hit will be based on my usual to hit stuff. So in this case, an electronic computer. So not very good, in other words. They will be point blank range, so they'll still do some damage, but to maximize the potency of this thing, the fighter garrison, I would need to get a better point defense weapon. Once you get to phaser, it gets pretty crazy, or even particle beam. It's hard to get particle beam though. I think particle beam is the most powerful point defense beam in the game, so that'll give you like the ultimate interceptors basically. But I'm just going to get mass driver, so it'll increase their damage by about 50%. And then, yeah, ideally I would get a better computer as well, so the chance to hit is a lot better than just 25. Now against Nolums, and I realized just now I didn't plan this out very well, they've got ship defense plus 50, so the even though I've got fighter garrisons, they might not actually do very much against Nolums. So I'm going to get that, then I'm going to go for positronic computer actually. Okay, so these are the Intarans. apparently I'm standing in the way of the entire empire. I can't surrender, I can't win, my only option is death. So that's really, really nice of them to say that. And then we'll have a look. Ooh, that swamp planet has now been terraformed, so the max population is increased by 4, which is nice. I'll just go back to building the starbase. What have we got here? 3 frigates, wow, okay. So this colony is doomed, unfortunately. That's really not good. So I'm gonna start building a colony ship right away, just to replace the colony. Gonna switch into trade goods just to get more money out of it. As you can see there, the conversion trade goods is giving me 21, which is extremely good. I think this is, yeah, this is one of the benefits of Fantastic Traders. I actually forgot about this. Yeah, there we go. 1 BC per industry, whereas normally you get half a BC. So when I build trade goods, 21 industry converts into 21 BC per turn. That's actually, yeah, it's very, very good. Unfortunately though, it won't last very long, so I'm going to start scrapping. I'm not going to scrap that because I'll lose money. But I'm actually just going to go scorched earth because I don't think I can save the colony. And what I'll even do is transport these 3 guys. Means my other colonies are going to starve temporarily, but it's not as bad as being the last guy on this planet who is going to be exterminated by Antarans. So they should count their blessings, I guess. I'm going to build terraforming here just to kick this food production up a little bit. That'll solve the food crisis. Sometimes it feels like the moment you try to go for better weapons and stuff, that's when they attack. It's like they know you're researching into that. I don't know if that's actually how it works, but it certainly feels like that at times. So now I've got mass driver. I'm going to get positronic computer. Okay, good. This planet can just build housing like crazy, as can this planet. We've solved the food crisis. Now that these planets are terran, so they're generating 2 food per farmer. So getting terraforming, very, very good. Now I'm going to just demolish another building. You can only demolish 1 building per turn. So that planet will now be destroyed. There we go. Lost colony due to bombardment. And the survivors will arrive here in a sec. There we go. So we got them out of there, or 3 of them at least. So it's something. Just gonna buy this. I really want to grab that planet again before the humans swoop in and take it. Okay, here we go again. Shake and bake. Food production is falling once again. Seems to be the theme of this game so far. I think what it's doing is it's not optimally allocating the new workers or new population to food, which is pretty much what I want it to do. But it's not doing that. So I have to manually do it. There we go. Once I have positronic computer, I'll feel a lot safer. There we go. Now I'm going to get weather control system just to help out this food situation again. And I won't have any food problems after that. Okay, food situation getting better and better. That planet has now been terraformed into swamp. This one is still desert. Very large population maximum there, but still very poor food production. Need to get terraforming one more time and then it'll be good. Let's build towards the starbase here. Just going to check on the enemy spying abilities. It's in under achievements. So telepathic training plus neural scanner, so 15. And then this guy, neural scanner, so plus 10. So I'm pretty good. I've got 25 defensively. So these four guys should do a pretty good job of safeguarding my positronic computer, which is the main, right now, one of the main technologies that I have. Actually, I think maybe they had it already. Yeah, he's already got it, so it doesn't matter. He doesn't, so... Okay, encountered another race finally. Orion. They're a quiet and peaceful race. Yes, that's true. Oh, they even called me Your Majesty. Isn't that nice? We look forward to a harmonious coexistence. Okay, that's good. I like coexisting harmoniously. Some of the time. Not always. In this particular game. Yes, that is what I am aiming to do. Okay, let's talk. Let's see what we can get. Soil enrichment would be nice. He wants it for terraforming. That's not a good trade. Deuterium fuel cells for robo miners. Not a good trade. That's about it, really. This other stuff is spaceport for terraforming. Yeah, definitely not a good trade. So let's go ahead and propose some treaties. No, that's it. So more treaties in place. Thinking maybe actually I'll put this on trade goods, considering how much money I actually forgot about that component of Fantastic Traders, so that is a lot of money. So very happy with that. Unfortunately the planet is now starving once again. Won't be long though. I'll have a weather control system, and then the food issue will no longer be an issue. The Vor is pretty exposed, so I might actually build a fighter garrison. Okay, so because I'm playing on Impossible, I essentially have Unlucky as an unofficial additional attribute. So you can see there, major industrial accident on Mizar 3. Radiated the entire planet. That's a pretty major accident. And it's killed millions of people. It doesn't say how many. Let's take a look. Yeah, it doesn't tell you how many, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, I don't think there's any way to find out. So this was more than 10 earlier. I can't remember what it was, but I lost a bunch of people because the entire planet got irradiated. But it's okay now, so no, don't worry. Okay, so she's gained yet another level. So pollution is even lower, which is just awesome. Now when I actually build some defenses here, because this planet is way out there. So if I do this, yeah, pollution is pretty low. And this is without pollution processor or any technology which reduces pollution. Okay, we've got the weather control system now. Next, I'm going to go for planetary gravity generator. Start with fusion rifle. Let's build weather controllers everywhere. I'm just gonna do this real quick. And after that, shouldn't be any food problems, because this thing increases food production by 2 per farmer, which is very, very good. Oh, not that planet, because it's irradiated. Okay, let's see what happens. So we're at 0. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Weather control is about to finish, so this is going to jump up to like plus 20 or 30, I reckon. Let's see. Ooh, okay, I was way off. Plus 72. There you go. So weather controller is quite good. And now we can let the population just boom. Don't need anywhere near as many farmers now, thankfully. And I'm going to go ahead and design my first battleship. First things first, I've got to clear the default design because it's really bad. Can't give it a shield. I can give it a computer, positronic. Special systems, I'll go with battle pods. This is pretty much a staple. Once you research this, there's not really a good reason to not use it because it increases the space by 50%. Every ship has a space, which is all the weapons and systems you put on the ship will take up space. The computer adds to how much it costs to produce. This cost, by the way, this is production cost, like industry cost. So the computer adds to that, but the computer doesn't take any space. So that's kind of a nice thing to know about computers. Very small computers, I guess. So for battle pods, greatly increases the production cost, but 50% extra space, so you can get a lot more out of a single ship. The only other options are extended fuel tanks. That's one you start with. And being full style, I researched that a very long time ago, so I finally get to use it. As you can see, the titanium armor, 300 structure points. Without that, it's only 100 structure points. And as things get added, you'll notice combat speed decreasing as well, and beam defense decreasing. So if I take this away, we've got more combat speed, beam defense 100. So more space means more beam defense and combat speed, but I'm going to use up all the space for weapons. Now heavy mount is a very interesting one. Because it only increases the damage by 50%, as you can see there, but it increases the cost and space by double. So you might think, well, what's the point of that? Because wouldn't it be better just to have more beams, which are not heavy? But heavy is a bit more complex than that. So it says here, it's a larger platform version of the normal weapon, so you get the 50% damage bonus. But this is key. It halves the actual range for purposes of dissipation and to hit penalties. It also increases your range. I don't think it actually says that though. It gives you double the range. I guess in effect, this kind of implies that it's doubling the range, but trust me, it doubles the range as well. But it gives you a better chance to hit. And in the case of a normal beam, because this is a mass driver, which is damage not reduced by range, just by default. But in the case of a normal beam, like laser, having the heavy mount modification will actually mean that you can shoot a lot further with less dissipation. That's actually a pretty big deal. So higher chance to hit, bit of extra damage because of the 50% bonus, and less dissipation. So it's a lot better than what it perhaps looks like when you just look at these numbers here. What else does it say? So it doubles the space and cost, okay. Here's a disadvantage though. It cannot fire at missiles or fighters. So any sort of projectile, usually missiles, fighters, assault shuttles as well, and bombers, due to the slow targeting. And you can't have heavy and point defensive. It has to be one or the other. Well, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It has to. If you have one, you can't have the other on this particular slot. So that's what this is. Add new weapon. You choose a weapon. You can choose its modifications, and then that takes up one of the slots. I think there's 8 slots maximum. So I could do this all the way up to 8. This one here, that's the one that I put as heavy, but I can make this 1 point defense if I want to, and then you can just increase or decrease them. And then if you want to delete them, you have to go to no weapon at the top here. So yeah, the first time you click into this, it's probably very intimidating, but it's one of the more, in my opinion, this is one of the best parts of the game, the ship design and the weapon design, which is all quite complex, of course. And it's a lot of fun, like figuring out what's good and what isn't. Can be a little bit frustrating because you might think, oh, yep, I've got this great idea to give it this and this and this, and then you get into combat and then it just gets blown up or doesn't, or it shoots and just doesn't do any damage. So there's a lot of factors, and it's just a case of learn by doing. When I get into a combat, I'll explain the factors, like the parameters, what's influencing what, as best I can, because even to this day I don't fully understand all the factors. But when that happens, I'll explain that. But you've got all this information. There's a lot of text here, I know, but this is all critical information. We've got the drive there, health and armor. You have to get through armor first before you start damaging the structure. Once you're through the armor, you can also actually damage this other stuff. So you can actually have your ship's weapons can actually be destroyed during combat. If the ship survives, they'll be repaired, and that's fine. But during the combat, you can actually lose your weapons. So a ship starts to like really fall apart. It's actually quite cool the way it works. And the drive can actually take damage. If the drive loses enough health, the ship will actually become immobilized and it can't retreat. Once the combat ends though, it becomes mobile again. So that's not very realistic, but that's what happens. Because I guess it'd be too complicated otherwise. Until such time it's repaired, and then when it enters combat, it won't be immobile anymore. Got the shield. I don't have any shields research, so don't worry about that. I put my best computer on there, which is positronic. Gives me a plus 75% chance. Got beam defense here. Once again, as I add weapons, combat speed goes down, beam defense goes down. And we've got missile evasion there, 0%. Yeah, this is quite a lot of text here. I think a lot of this I've explained already. Maybe, I think the one thing I haven't explained maybe is missile evasion. Each point reduces the chance to hit by 1, so that 50% missile evasion reduces each missile's chance to hit by 50%. Okay, well, so it's what it sounds like. With 50% evasion, you've got a 50% chance to evade the missile, is what it's saying. There are other things which affect that, so it can get a bit more complex than that. So what I'm going to do is give it mainly just mass drivers, because I've got pretty good beam attack. Whole lot of point defense mass drivers. I like to keep it simple, just have a couple of weapons. You could have multiple slots here, which might actually be better, because you can only fire with the entire slot at a time. Like if I split this 10 heavy mass drivers into 5 and 5, then I could fire just with 5 of them, and then shoot something else with 5, something like that. So I guess technically that would be a smarter thing to do, but that's too much effort, and so I can't really be bothered with that. So I've got heavy mass drivers for targeting ships and bases, and then I've got point defense mass drivers for targeting projectiles. And I'm basically just going to leave it at that. I'll add a missile as well, just because I can. Give it all the modifications. I've got one level of refinement in missiles, because I researched titanium armor. So now I can access some of these modifications here. Now the way levels of refinement work, I know I already explained this in the other video, but each technology has a particular spot in a category of research. So in the case of a nuclear missile, that's in chemistry. Let's call that the baseline, which is 0. And then you research one technology up, which would be titanium armor or deuterium fuel cells, which is what I did. I researched titanium armor. And now I'm at a point where I'm one level above that baseline of 0, which is to say I've got one level of refinement. So these specials, which require one level of refinement, are now accessible. All three of these are one level of refinement. So if you look at mass driver, for example, there's a couple of modifications here. Heavy mount and point defense don't require any levels of refinement. Armor piercing requires 1, auto fire requires 2. Now because I just researched mass driver, but I haven't researched anything else in force fields, I currently have 0 levels of refinement of mass driver. So I can't access those other specials. Meanwhile, the more levels of refinement you obtain or gain in a category of research, the more it reduces the cost and space. So nuclear missiles, originally they were, I think, 10 space. Can't remember about cost. Be 8 or 9, I'm guessing. And I think it's maybe 20% each time. I'm not, or maybe 25%. I'm not 100% on that. But it reduces the cost and space of the weapon. So if I research more into force fields, I can actually have even more mass drivers. So it's quite a complex little feature of this game. But it's to represent your race getting better and better at that category, that type of technology. So even though mass driver is pretty low level tech, if I researched really deep into force fields, my mass driver miniaturization would be really good, and I could have lots and lots and lots of mass drivers, which would be good in some circumstances. Because you might think, well, if you're gonna get levels of refinement and miniaturization of an earlier weapon, why even bother with the later game weapons? And the answer to that is, well, because of shields, basically. Because this does 9 damage, right? If they have class 7 shield, this is only going to do 2 damage. Whereas if I have a Gauss cannon, a heavy Gauss cannon does 27 damage. So the class 7 shield would reduce that to 20. So each shot would be doing 20 damage instead of 2. So it gives you that, I guess, penetration, essentially. Or stopping power. Like it hits harder. So this would be good, especially when I get auto fire. This would be good against races which don't have any shields, or maybe just class 1 shield. So it's quite dynamic like that. Just going to give it a couple of missiles here, why not? Just in case the beams, the mass drivers, don't do me any good. The only other options here, we've got laser cannon. I don't have any levels of refinement in physics, so lasers are pretty hopeless right now, so I'm going to go with mass drivers instead. Meanwhile, I've also got nuclear bomb, which is used to bombard planets, like to destroy like a missile base, for example. I don't really use that. Sometimes they're helpful, but I'm not a fan. I'd rather use beams and other things to destroy bases. the other option here is you can actually choose, this is actually pretty cool, you can choose the arc which this weapon will be using. Now if you use one of these, like this, forward X'd, as you can see, it covers a wider area, wider arc, but it takes up more space. So I generally just go with forward, but there's some situations where maybe you want to use this one. Once you have shields, you can actually rotate the ship so that the shield, which is not depleted, because there's 4 arcs of the shield, you can rotate so that that's the shield arc, which is at full strength, is facing the enemy. So then they'll hit that instead. So you can kind of optimize the distribution of damage across all your shield arcs. And if you use this, you can it'd be easier to do that. So I'll say 360 degree, but as you can see, that's increasing it by 50%. So I'm just going to stick with forward, that way I've got more forward firepower. Nice and simple. And then after all that, you just click build, and then there it is. So quite a lot going on in this screen. You can also play around with this. Right now it's not too bad because there's only a couple of specials and there's only a few weapons, but late game this gets really busy. Like the specials list is very long, as are the weapon list. If you've watched some of my other videos where I play like into the late game, it gets a bit crazy. But for now, fairly simple. I'm gonna just go ahead and build that. It's only gonna take 10 turns. That way I'll actually have some mobility. We've got fusion rifle right away. Might get battle scanner just in case I have to go to war with Nolums. So not sure where this is going exactly, but making a lot of money, as you can see there, 136 BC per ton. Let's take a look at the graph. Population, I'm well ahead of everyone else, so that's good. Thanks to my subterranean and my cloning centers. Buildings, humans are actually ahead of me. Fleet, non-existent. Nolums just got devastated by the looks of things, so I think that's they're at war with the Klakons. So yeah, that's not looking good for them. 4 stars. I think they had maybe a star over here, which they've lost. Can't quite remember. And then tech. I'm actually quite lagging behind here in the tech, but I'll turn that around soon enough. Yeah, I'll see how I go. I'm not really sure. Yeah, like I said, not really sure how this is going to go, but having as you can see, my population just really took off. So pretty happy with that. Have a look at their race statistics here. Humans, pretty boring. Trilarian, they took some extra things like rich homeworld. Yeah, but with this terraforming and stuff, I think my production and things will kind of catapult ahead. And I'll start, yeah, my empire will really start to flourish. That planet there, probably can let that one go. So yeah, we're pretty much we're well into the mid game now, I would say. As for my technology pathways, I'm going to go up to planetary gravity generator. This is actually going to give me a lot of levels of refinement in laser. I researched fusion rifle because I'm anticipating ground combat in the future. So that's just gonna help that out. Meanwhile, I can use mass driver. I'm not gonna do the usual thing where I use fusion beam and neutron blaster. I'm gonna try something else. Might still get neutron blaster though, and then I'll get planetary gravity generator. Because if I get neutron blaster, I can use that to kill marines on ships and then capture those ships. That'll be a good way to get some technology. once I'm done with that, I'll probably go up to class 3 shield here. There's a nice synergy here. You get mash driver first thing, then you get one of these, and then you get class 3 shield. So you'll have class 3 shield. You'll also at that point have 2 levels of refinement in mash driver, which means you can give them the auto fire modification, which allows it to fire 3 times, but only costs I think 50% extra. So it's a very good sort of ratio there. It does decrease the chance to hit, but with 3 shots, well, maybe it balances out, you know. So I'm pretty much done with biology for now. Psionics will be nice. Will take a long time to research though. Cybersecurity link, nice to boost my spies. And it would have been good to get Holo Simulator or Planetary Supercomputer. Planetary Supercomputer for the research. It's essentially a double research lab. Holo Simulator, on the other hand, the morale bonus across the board would be really good, but I prioritized getting the better computer for the ships so the beam weapons can hit. Sometimes you just gotta do that. Again, like the trade-offs it's quite painful sometimes letting some of these technologies go because you just want everything. As for this other stuff, not really quite sure yet what to get, but that'll do for now, I think. So hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Any constructive feedback is welcome. And I'll see you next time.